Davis did not wake up that day planning to become a killer. He was not the biggest name in the streets. He was not the most feared. At that time, he was still finding his place, trying to balance loyalty, pride, and pressure. When the situation turned deadly, it felt sudden, fast, almost out of control. But when we slow it down and look closely, we see something deeper. The person Davis killed was not just some random threat. That man had connections. He had history. And more important, he may have already been on the radar of law enforcement. This changes everything, because if the victim was already being watched, then Davis' first kill was not invisible. It was recorded. It was noticed. It was logged into a system that tracks patterns and rising players. The moment Davis pulled that trigger, he crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. Before that night, he was part of the game. After that night, he became a real piece on the board. First kills in this world are not just about removing an enemy. They are about stepping into a new level. It is like the streets test you. And once you pass that test, your name carries more weight. People start to whisper. Rivals start to study you. And law enforcement starts to pay attention. This is where the connection to the Power Origins task force becomes clear. A task force is not built because of one big kingpin. It is built because small events show a pattern. Davis' kill may have been the first sign of a new wave rising. Think about how these task forces usually start. They are created when officials see early signs of future threats. They look for young, smart, hungry individuals who show the same signs that past bosses once showed. Davis checked many of those boxes. He was sharp. He understood strategy. And now, he proved he was willing to take a life when pushed. That combination is dangerous in the eyes of the law. His first kill may have told the task force that another major player could be forming. Instead of waiting for him to grow into a ghost-level figure, they could decide to track him from the start. Stop the fire before it becomes a wildfire. There is also the emotional side of it. After that kill, Davis was not the same. Even if he did not show it on the outside, something changed inside him. A first kill brings fear, but it also brings power. It shows you what you are capable of. It removes doubt. That shift in mindset is important. The task force does not just track actions. They track growth. They study how a person reacts after violence. Do they step back? Or do they step forward? Davis stepped forward. He did not run from the life. He adapted. That is a red flag for any federal unit watching closely. Another detail many people miss is timing. Around the same period, the streets were already unstable. Different crews were fighting for space. Old systems were falling apart. When chaos grows, law enforcement responds with structure. A special unit like the Power Origins Task Force would need a reason to get funding and approval. A clean case. A clear example of a rising threat. Davis' first kill could have provided that. A young operator connected to bigger names. Involved in a deadly incident, showing signs of ambition. That is the perfect file to present in a meeting room and say, we need to act now. So when we look back at that scene, we should not only focus on the gunshot. We should focus on the ripple effect. That body on the ground may have opened a new investigation. It may have linked names, phones, and money trails. It may have pushed certain officials to create a focus group whose job is to stop the next empire before it rises. And if that is true, then Davis did not just take a life that night. He may have helped create the very system that will hunt him and others like him in this universe. Nothing happens alone. Every action connects to a bigger design. Davis' first kill was not just a personal turning point. It may have been the birth moment of something much larger and far more dangerous. The circumstances surrounding Davis' first kill were far from random, and every small detail of that moment matters more than most viewers realize. At first glance, it may have seemed like a simple act of survival, a split-second decision under pressure. But when you examine it closely, the scene reveals layers of tension, calculation, and foreshadowing. Davis wasn't acting purely on instinct. Every choice he made in those moments hinted at a deeper understanding of the dangerous world he was entering. His target wasn't just an obstacle. The person he eliminated was someone with connections, someone whose actions had already rippled across the criminal network. By taking this life, Davis inadvertently shifted more than just the balance on the street. He became a node in a web that law enforcement and the task force would begin to trace. Looking at Davis' mindset, it's clear he wasn't the same person before and after the kill. There's a subtle transformation in how he observes his surroundings, how he anticipates moves, and how he calculates risk. Prior to this moment, he operated under a set of known rules, following instructions and maintaining loyalty. But the act of taking a life forced him to confront the raw reality of power, control, fear, and consequence. In the power universe, first kills often serve as a rite of passage, a moment where characters step into a new version of themselves. For Davis, it was the night his personal ambitions and survival instincts aligned with lethal precision. And it's this alignment that makes his kill not just a street-level event, but a pivotal point that reverberates across the broader law enforcement and criminal landscape. There are also details in the scene that are easy to overlook, but carry massive significance. The location, the timing, even the way Davis approached the situation all suggest premeditation on some level. He knew that hesitation could cost him more than just his life. It could expose him, compromise allies, or create chaos in a network he was trying to navigate. Each movement, each glance, and every reaction shows that he understood the stakes, even if he didn't fully comprehend how the federal or criminal systems might respond. Law enforcement, particularly specialized units like the Power Origins Task Force, watch these seemingly small ripples. A young operator taking out a connected individual is exactly the type of pattern that signals the emergence of a rising threat. Davis' first kill, therefore, becomes more than personal. It becomes an early warning that draws attention from outside the streets. Beyond strategy and consequence, there's a psychological layer that transforms this act into something bigger. The first kill leaves an imprint on the killer and everyone around them. Davis suddenly carries the knowledge that he is capable of altering lives permanently. That awareness changes interactions, decisions, and alliances. Others in his circle notice it too, even if subtly, and it shifts the dynamics around him. For the task force, these shifts are critical. They indicate a new operator emerging, someone adaptable, intelligent, and increasingly dangerous. The kill acts as a signal, unintentionally connecting Davis to a larger narrative that law enforcement is piecing together. Finally, examining the kill in context with the network around him shows a chain reaction. Phones, contacts, and surveillance. Lines that seemed dormant suddenly become relevant. Officials start mapping relationships, cross-checking past incidents, and identifying patterns that might have otherwise gone unnoticed. This single violent act becomes a node in a much larger web. For Davis, it's the start of a path where every action is being measured. Every decision has consequences far beyond his immediate understanding. It's this combination of personal transformation, strategic ripples, and law enforcement response that ties his first kill directly to the origins of the task force. It's not just a street moment, it's the ignition point for something much larger. A catalyst that sets off events which will shape the future of the power universe. If you want, I can immediately continue with Section 3 in the same detailed, faceless style, keeping it unique and for 1,000 characters. This will maintain continuity and fully explore the connection to the task force. Do you want me to do that next? The Power Origins Task Force didn't appear out of nowhere. Units like this are created when patterns emerge, when law enforcement identifies the potential rise of new, influential players who could disrupt existing criminal or political systems. Davis' first kill, small as it seemed at the time, fit perfectly into this pattern. It was more than a single violent act. It was a signal in the streets. It marked him as someone willing to take extreme measures. In the eyes of law enforcement, it marked him as someone whose trajectory could become dangerous if left unchecked. The task force exists to intercept these trajectories early, studying the moves, associations, and decisions of emerging figures before they grow into the type of powerhouses that dominate entire cities. Every detail of Davis' first kill, from timing to method, made him exactly the kind of individual this unit would want on their radar.